What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and today I want to talk about the triceps. Today I want to give you 5 tips for building your triceps, and these are all things that I've talked about individually, but I figured we got a lot of new subscribers, and I'm pretty sure not everybody has seen all of those videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list here of what I would consider to be perhaps the top 5 tips or tricks, if you want to call them that, for building bigger triceps. Okay, so first things first, true range of motion. Okay, a lot of people understand the function of the tricep is to flex and extend the elbow. However, when people train the triceps, they tend to forget that that's the function. Okay, now with every muscle, you can fully lengthen that muscle and you can fully shorten or contract that muscle. Okay, and the purpose of lengthening and shortening the muscle under tension is to ensure that you are putting that muscle through the entire range of motion. All right, so for example, for the triceps, they are fully shortened when your arm is completely straight or locked out. Okay, and then they are completely lengthened when the opposing muscle is completely flexed. So for the triceps, they're going to be lengthened when the biceps are flexed. Okay, now this is going to be the triceps weakest position. All right, so if we continue to train our triceps in this range of motion here, we are leaving a lot of room for growth and improvement on the table. Not to mention that training the triceps through their entire range of motion, right, from a point where they are lengthened and then to the point where they are completely shortened, is going to also help strengthen the connective tissue of the working joint as well. All right, so make sure that you are training your triceps through a true full range of motion. Next, accumulation, all right, for lack of a better term. Here's the thing, with a smaller muscle group, it's going to be harder to progress as fast, or so it seems. Okay, so let's take, for example, a bench press. All right, if you had a bench press of 220 and you increase that by 10 pounds to 230, that's only about a less than 5% difference. Okay, so we can understand why that's easily manageable. However, let's take, for example, a dumbbell skull crusher where you're using 20-pound dumbbells. Okay, let's say if you wanted to increase that to 25-pound dumbbells, that's the same 10-pound increase. However, in this case, that's over a 30% increase in the lift. So it's obvious that that jump is going to be much harder to make. So what I would recommend are 2 things for increasing the workload. Number 1 is a very simple strategy. Okay, let's start off with a weight that you can perform for 3 or 4 sets for 8 reps on every set. Okay, then instead of increasing the weight slightly the next time you perform that exercise, what I prefer you do is go for 10 reps. And then, maybe that next time you won't be able to hit all 10 reps on all the sets, but maybe you'll be able to hit 10 reps on the first couple of sets and then end up at 9. Continue to do that until you can hit 10 reps on every set. All right? Now again, once you can hit 10 reps on every set, come back and aim for 12. Keep pushing until you can do 12 reps on every set. And then at that point, then increase the weight. But don't try to aim for 12 right away. Once you increase the weight, go back down to the 8 reps and repeat the same pyramid. All right? Another technique that you can use to add volume to the triceps are rest pause sets. And I have an entire video on how to perform rest pause sets. I'll put the link down below and maybe somewhere here on the screen, so go check that out. But essentially what you're going to be doing is at the end of your workout, right, you're doing your tricep push downs, you go till you hit about 8 reps, you take a 5-second pause, leave the weight the same, then crank out as many as you can without changing the weight. Continue to do that 2 or 3 times, and what that's going to do is allow you to technically add volume to that set without increasing the amount of sets that you're doing. Third, eccentric training. All right, we know that the negative aspect of the lift is absolutely critical, right? But a lot of the time you'll see guys do this. They'll let the weight bring them back up, and then they'll push down. And then they'll let the weight bring them back up, and then they'll push down. They're leaving 50% of the entire lift up to gravity. Okay, so instead what I want you to do is really focus on that negative. When that weight's coming up, I want you to control the weight, and don't let the weight control you. Focus on bringing the weight up under control. If you can do that, then essentially what's happening is this. Okay, when we're pushing the weight down, we're recruiting a lot of muscle fibers because we're pushing the weight against gravity. All right, but now that we're letting the weight come up under control, it's a lot easier to perform, and thus we need less muscle fibers. Well, now that there's less muscle fibers there, those limited muscle fibers are going to bear the weight of the load. All right, so this is going to induce more muscle damage. Okay, so never forget the eccentric portion of a lift. Number 4, angles. Again, I have a whole video on this. Okay, with the triceps, anytime we extend our elbow, right, or flex our elbow, flex and extend our elbow, the triceps are firing all together. Okay, you cannot isolate one head over the other. However, there are certain movements that we can perform that will emphasize one head over the other. So if you have a well-developed lateral head and you really want to get that long head, then you need to ensure that your programming and the exercises you're doing matches that. Okay, so I'm going to also link that video down below and maybe somewhere here on the screen. And then number 5, direct stimulus. A lot of the time people tell us, oh, if you want to build big triceps, all you have to do is bench press and overhead press, because anytime you are pushing, you're working your triceps, which is true. However, after a certain amount of time, the amount of progress that we will see in those big lifts will slow down, and thus the amount of workload that we're adding to the triceps is slowing down, and thus the growth is slowing down. And this is a good time to start training the triceps directly for that added volume. I guess that one pretty much goes without saying, but again, don't be fooled by people who tell you that you don't have to train certain muscle groups directly. You absolutely should, especially if they are a lagging muscle group are on you. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. 5 tips for building the triceps. If you like this video, found it helpful, click the like button below, and what I'll do is I'll start making more videos like this one for other muscle groups. If you don't like the video, then don't like the video. And that's pretty much it, guys. Also, make sure to grab the Arm Growth Accelerator program. That's completely free. Just go to the link below, put your name and your email address, and you're going to get instant access to that program. And again, that's pretty much it, guys. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.